patience. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your patience. And can you hear me okay? We have a couple seats available. And I appreciate those of you who are standing. I want you to know we promise you this is a pretty short program. So thank you for standing and thank you for your patience. For those who haven't met me yet, my name is Jen Waite, and I have the joy of being the branch manager here at the Fairview Library. I'm joined by my coworker Jennifer Prince. Who is such a key part of making this library special and who was such a huge contributor to all of the history and all of the celebrations we saw and will see tonight. So thank you, Jennifer. I want to thank the friends of the Fairview Library, most of you who are here. Thank you for being here. The friends have contributed so much to make this event possible and so much of what we do here at the library possible. So thank you, friends. We're grateful to have some special guests and dignitaries with us. Please help me in welcoming County Commissioner Terry Wells. Thank you for being here. Our library leaders, Jamie McDowell, former branch director. She is under the weather today, and she's heartbroken about it, but she wanted me to say hello and tell you all she wishes she were here. Library director Jason Hyatt is also sadly out of town. He wanted me also to extend his well wishes and to save him a slice of Betsy's coffee cake. I want to thank the team of Buncombe County Special Collections who's here with us tonight and whose work also helped make all this possible. So you'll be hearing from Calvin and our team. And I'd also like to thank our entire library staff team, many of whom you know and love. Some of whom are busy behind the scenes right now. So thank you to our library staff. Their dedication, their effort, their creativity, their care comes through every day, and especially at big events like this. Tonight we're here to celebrate and to create Fairview history. We're celebrating the Fairview Oral History Project, which you'll hear about in just a minute. But I just wanted to share a reflection about oral history as a treasure. When we record the voices of our neighbors and loved ones, we save not just stories, but we save accents, laughter, wisdom, struggle, and hope. Oral history, I think, is the closest thing we have to time travel. And tonight, at the end of the program, we'll also share a very special moment of history together, the renaming of our community room in honor of one of our dearest friends. After the program, we hope you'll linger a little, enjoy the displays, eat some delicious food, enjoy the fellowship, and let the stories that you hear tonight and that you explore spark even more conversation among us. And with that, I'll turn it over to Catherine Cutshall from Buncombe County Special Collections.
I'm a little short. Hi, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. As Fairview often does, you really turned out. And so it's just great to see all of you folks here to celebrate the Oral History Project and, of course, our dear friend Annie. Like Jen said, my name is Catherine Cutshall, and I have the pleasure of managing the Buncombe County Special Collections Library. Our role is to take care of and share the history of Asheville, Buncombe County, and Western North Carolina. And one of the ways that we do that is through community-driven archives projects like the Fairview Oral History Project. These are neighbors interviewing neighbors and working together to preserve stories. And one of my big goals since I've taken over at the Buncombe County Special Collections is to collect more rural history and more working class history. We have thousands of photos of downtown Asheville, but we only have a couple dozen images of Fairview or of Leicester or of surrounding areas, Limestone. So it's just so nice to be able to work together in community, to find those stories, to collect them, and to be able to share them for years and years to come. I first got very excited about doing history on my family trips to Fairview. And in fact, that event is tomorrow, an ongoing event that my Settles and Bradley family called Birthday Dinner. And so it's to celebrate everybody's birthdays all at one time, once in a row. And we would go up Fairwaller Mountain to have a family gathering to eat. And on our way back, we would often stop at what my family calls the Clarks. So of course that's John and Annie's house, the old Cheryl's Inn. And that's one of those times where I first really got excited about local history. I was flipping through the book out here, Useful Work, and looking at some of the pictures of the library that is in the old Cheryl's Inn, and remembering that seeing the hidden door in there and John showing me around was just really magical to me as a little kid. So it's just really delightful to be able to be here and see what the Fairview Oral History Project has created and will continue to create and inspire other folks to continue to do this history. So it takes a lot of hands and a lot of minds to make sure that this kind of work gets done. So I want to tell you that this Oral History Project started just right before I got started at the Buncombe County Special Collections in 2018. And there were, 67 folks were interviewed across 52 interviews, amounting to 45 total hours of community stories. And all of those stories have been transcribed and they're bound up in books that are available for you to look at, along with a lot of the images, just like the ones that you're seeing here. And soon there will be copies available to check out as well. That was all done, the interviews and the transcriptions, by 23 different volunteers who spent something like over 200 hours doing all of that. And then, of course, library staff were also very, very helpful in making this happen. The Buncombe County Special Collections staff, two of whom are here with me today, Carissa Pfeiffer and Jenny Bowen back there in the back. And then Fairview Library staff, Jill Scobie and Brandon Widener, who's now at the Enka Library, worked really hard to make sure that we got transcripts edited and made sure that everybody signed the proper paperwork. So that's very, very important. So we appreciate all of you who volunteered for the project, who were interviewed as a part of the project and shared your stories and pictures and memories with us. And again, I just want to emphasize that it's so important that we capture these stories. You'll see through the slideshow here that a number of the folks who were interviewed are now no longer with us. And our stories die with us often if they aren't recorded. So it's really important that we do our best to capture this history. And again, especially rural history, the folks who work to build our communities, who work to feed our bellies, and it's just really, really nice to know that we've captured at least a part of that. So thank you all so much again. I hope you'll come visit us at the Buncombe County Special Collections Library. We would love to see you.
Thank you.
My name is Jennifer. I'm the Youth Services Librarian here. I've been at this location 21 years. I've been with the county 26 years. The Fairview's my town. This is where I was born. This is where I was raised. This is where I've worked for 20 plus years. And you were my people. And my bus driver comes in the library here. I'm going to talk to my old bus driver. I have blood family here. I have found family here. One of my earliest storytime kids is her son. I went to his wedding. One of my youngest storytime kids is right there. It's just such an honor and a privilege to be here with you all. I want to introduce someone who I have known since I was probably 5. We've been talking about when I was 5 because I started to go to school with my son. And ever since I have known him, he has just been the epitome of kindness and approachability, just a really steady person who I am so proud to know for all these years. He was interviewed for this oral history project, and I am so proud and pleased to introduce you to Eddie Jackson. He has all the remarks that he would like to say.
Thank you very much. I told him I'd make this short and sweet. But I'd like to thank the Fairview staff for putting this thing together. They have a good library here, and I'm really proud of it. I really enjoyed my interview. They kind of did that. They kind of give you a few questions and ask you this and that, and kind of get you thinking about what happened in the past and your history. So I've lived here in Fairview from 1953 or 1954, something like that neighborhood. We moved from West Asheville to here, and when we first moved here, we lived in a little rock house right down the road on the right. It's the dog care center or something like that. But that was our first house in Fairview. My dad built the house with me. This rock building across the road is still standing. I saw one of the pictures, it's still standing. That rock building used to be a Gulf gas station. And people would go down there and buy gas and groceries. Maybe a Coca-Cola just to hang around with the guys here. But also, I'm going to tell you another thing about this little rock building. The Fairview Fire Department got it started in the basement of the building. If you knew that or not, but they have grown and become the best fire station around. And at that point, our community has been blessed with their dedication and support. I'd like to honor all firefighters, policemen, medical workers. I'd like to add teachers to that too. And they've helped our community really well. Like I said, I've lived in Fairview all my life, except 4 years I was in active duty. And after that, I moved back here and began my life with our house. I used to stand down here on US 74A, and just about every car that went by, I knew somebody. But nowadays, you stand down there and you don't know very many people. So the community has grown. And also, before the Fairview Library, we used to have to rely on the mobile home and the books. We brought here mobile, van like thing. And you'd go in and select the books. And they come out maybe once or twice. And then park, and you just go in and pick out your books.
Yeah.
Fairview community is a good place to raise your family. And, it's a good place to live. And also, the Fairview community here last year has pulled together a lot. And I'm thankful for the community that pulled together so good. I'd like to say a couple of quick things in closing. My first thing is keep Fairview strong. I believe in the community, and I believe it's a good place for everybody to live. So, my last 3 words I'd like to say to you is kind of how I base my life. And that's remember your faith, family, and friends.
Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Teely Ellis, who is one of the dedicated volunteers who conducted so many of these interviews.
I somehow create things so much.
You're gonna take it back up for yourself.
Thank you so much. When I moved here in 2014, it was, I've been to the mountains many times, but it was just a whole new experience because I was in it, but at that point in time, I was not part of it. And one of the things that, in my opinion, that the participating in volunteering in the Oral History Project was I came to know so many people who shared their stories, they answered our questions, they sometimes added things that we didn't even ask, which were wonderful additions to have. I would like to focus for a minute on one lady that I interviewed that became a personal friend, and that was, I get very emotional when I think about it, but Holly Reed was her name. And the interview that Judith Robertson and I, she was a team member, we did the interview in her home. Wonderful lady. She and I became personal friends after that. And in 2023, as all of us have to do at some point, she passed on. I attended the funeral services, and when the service had ended, I was able to speak to her son, and he knew that she was going to participate in that oral history, and she had shared some of the questions that she had answered and so forth. And so when I spoke with him, he really kind of put it all in a very short description for what I think I was feeling. That was that while generations of his family were not going to know her, they would know how she lived. They would know some of the words that she had spoken, some of her thoughts that she had shared with other people. And that, I experienced a lot of that throughout all of the interviews. And I think if there's anybody, in addition to Judith gives the wave, everybody can notice that it was a very personal thing that we were doing, but people were willing to share that information. And so, with that said, thank you very much, and I hope that you will take advantage of the oral history packets that they're putting together, that you can access it in many different ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. We hope you'll keep exploring these stories, not just this evening, but in the days ahead. These oral history recordings are available online. We also have some audio playing in the library tonight that you can sit and listen to. In the back of the room here, we have the bound collection of the transcripts, so feel free to flip through those tonight. They're also going to be kept permanently at the library, so you can always look at them when you're here. And as Catherine mentioned, soon we'll have them available for checkout as well. Catherine encouraged you to visit Buncombe County Special Collections downtown. We encourage you to take advantage of all the resources they have. If you're interested in learning more about your family history, they can help you. Our staff can help you. There's free digital resources available, and we're just itching to plug you into this. So take advantage of that. We also have these cool things called oral history backpacks, which is a backpack full of microphones, recorders, a whole kind of complete kit that you can check out to conduct your own interview of your elders or yourself. So it's so look into that. Ask one of your friendly librarians about that as well. We have a email sign-up list in the library proper. If you're interested in this sort of project and these sort of things, please add your name to that email list as we move forward and try new projects in this realm. And we would love to contact you to let you know about it. One of the things we do plan to do in 2026 is a community scanning day, which means date to be determined, but we'll have scanners and staff here where you can bring your family photos, collectibles, and we'll scan them, digital copies, to hopefully then be added into our permanent archives. And most importantly, tonight and beyond, we invite you to share your own stories with one another and to keep these conversations going. And speaking of stories and the people who helped shape them, we come now to a very special story and a very special person whose spirit has touched this library and our community in countless ways. Ms. Annie Clark Ager. Thank you to our library leaders and the Buncombe County Commissioners who have approved a motion that the Friends of Fairview Library put forward to rename the room that we're all in tonight the Annie Clark Ager Community Room. This move to rename our community room didn't come from the top down, it came from the heart of this community. The Friends of the Library led the way in seeking to honor Annie. And I want to thank everybody who's been involved in that process and making it official. I wanted to share a personal memory I have of about 10 years ago, picking my daughter up at farm camp and seeing her sitting side by side with Annie, my daughter reading horse books to Annie and quizzing her on horse truth. It's so fitting that this memory includes a little child reading because that is such an important cause to Annie. At that time, I never would have guessed that our paths would cross again and lead us to this place, working together at this library to support readers of all ages, and I couldn't be more honored and blessed to be here in that capacity. In working with Annie, what I've come to treasure most is her warmth, her wit, her way, and the encouragement she's given me in this role. She's been a steadfast supporter of our Fairview Library and its mission, and Annie brings a spark that brings people together for the library. Today isn't about closing a chapter, it's about carrying Annie's spirit forward, so her spark and her love for people and for stories will always be a part of this space. And so we have a few special speakers coming forward to share reflections and celebrate her work and her legacy. With that, I'd like to ask Becky Stone to come forward.
Okay. Thank you. Goodness, my name is Becky Stone. I'm a longtime Fairview resident and member of the Friends of the Library. And there may even be some people here that I've told stories to when they were quite small. But tonight we're here to celebrate Annie. Most citizens who get their names on buildings or have paid for the building paid for that honor in some way. Well, the county owns this building, and in some ways it is our building. And so tonight we get to rename this building, a room in this building, after someone we love and treasure. A name and a portrait will help us to remember our friend who's done so much for us. So I'd like to invite Nate Barton up? There he is. Thank you. So that you can share what you've done.
When I was asked if I thought I could make a portrait of Annie, I jumped at it. I don't paint a whole lot of portraits. I mostly paint our mountains, but I felt confident that I could do it. And I wanted to thank her and her family because my family moved here a little more than 20 years ago, and whether they've known it or not, they've been caring for us and loving us that whole time. My wife and I were married at Cheryl's Inn about 11 years ago. They took us in. We felt like family. I sell my art at Hickory Nut Gap Farm, their barn market. They sell my hats there. They've just cared for us again and again. And so I wanted to say thank you. We appreciate you. I hope that you love what you see.
There you go, all right.
He took out the gold tooth.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nate. That is beautiful. And we'll all enjoy it. It'll be hanging on the wall here somewhere in this room. Now, we don't want to forget this woman, a native of Fairview, who was instrumental in getting a branch library for Fairview in the first place. The retired library director Ed Sherry recalls how Annie's effort brought community and political powers together to agree that we needed more than a bookmobile, that we had secured the perfect location, and that we had a friends group long before we had a branch that was ready to offer community support. Annie recently stepped down from serving as president of the Friends of the Fairview Library. Annie's efforts cement our community together go beyond the library. Her openness and inclusion of all of the people of Fairview have made us feel welcome in her home, with her family, and her horse camp, which is a staple for many who grew up here in Fairview. Annie led a campaign to save the old Fairview Elementary School gym when it was scheduled to be torn down.
Yay!
She knew it would be useful. Oh, yes, indeed. It has become our community center, home to food for Fairview, to athletic endeavors for all ages, and an affordable venue for parties and even theatrical productions. And will we ever forget the trick-or-treat parties that featured a scary house in the basement and the participation of the Fairview Volunteer Fire Department? Annie's vision of community has included the founding of a church, support for the PTO and the schools of our district, the preservation of local farmland, athletics, and other emerging community organizations. All of these activities reflect her dedication to us through service, service, and more service. We are not people who easily forget, as our oral history project reveals. With smiles across our faces, love in our hearts, and lots of fun memories, Branch and the people of Fairview proudly named this room the Annie Clark Ager Community Room. And now, Annie, will you come
Thank you all for being here. What a great crowd. It's wonderful to see everybody. I was here, I thank you for being part of the Fairview Library. All these people are part of the Fairview Library too. Like all institutions, libraries don't happen by themselves. In the 1990s, Bernard Smith, father of one of my friends, asked me to be on the board of the library. That was the Buncombe County Library Board. I had always admired the women who served on the library board, great women like Mary Parker. So I was honored and tried to be a good board member. Then the library director, Ed Sherry, who's here today, started talking about having branch libraries all over the county. When he started talking about that, I was inspired. I talked to my sister Susie and her husband, Dr. Will Hamilton, who had purchased this property to build his medical office, and what better neighbor could you have than a library? Ed then told me that the county would build a library if we could establish a friends group to handle the landscape. A not insignificant commitment. So I asked Jim Webb, a retired Forest Service neighbor, if he could help. He had helped establish the Arboretum and had agreed wholeheartedly that he and Ridgway Lynch, some of his family is here today too, I think. He and Ridgway Lynch, who had grown up in Fairview, took it on. With the help of Les Mitchell, Jürgen Dirks, and many others, they made a plan, and the rest of us organized a big book sale to pay for it. So I'm greatly honored to have this community room named after me. I feel there are so many names that we can add. Thank you all. Thank you all very much. I was looking around to see a lot of other people who helped out, so.
I think we've said all that we intended to say. I just want to thank you all again for being here, for celebrating the voices of our community, honoring Annie with us, and we hope you will join Annie in supporting your Fairview Library into the future. Now, please go enjoy some great food and exhibits. Thank you all.